action.
Alright, so small disclaimer, there are some spoilers to the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, so I just say sit down, shut up, and you'll deal with them later. Alright. My soul is trained to like the wings of butterfly wings. Fairy tales of yesterday will grow but never die. I can fly, my friends. Freddie Mercury was a rock legend, gay icon, and an overall queen. He brought joy to thousands of people through his music and his personality. He was also a fashion icon, and when on stage, he saw them as more of a fashion show rather than a concert. He liked to surround himself with many nice things, including nice men. He once paid $400,000 for a hand-painted tea set from China. He was in several bands before joining forces with Roger Taylor and Brian May, and then later John Deaky Deacon. Freddie Mercury was born Farooq Balsara in Zanzibar, Tanzania on September 5th, 1946. He went to a boarding school and practiced piano in Bombay, which is now Mumbai, India. His family moved to London in the 1960s to escape the Tanzanian revolt thing. Yeah. To help make ends meet, he worked as a luggage unloader and loader at an airport. He went out often and returned late at night. He would go and listen to bands, including the one he later joined as their lead singer. Freddie went to Ealing College of Art. This is where he met friends Roger Taylor and Brian May. Freddie was born with 4 extra incisors in his mouth, which made him have, at least he thought, his impressive 4-octave vocal range. He'd never wanted to remove them in fear of damaging it. His school bullies really called him Bucky. With Mercury's degree in graphic design and illustration, he designed most of the album art for the band. So in the beginning, Freddie was attending Ealing College of Art, meeting Roger Taylor and Brian May there. Freddie joined a group called Ibex as their lead singer and many other bands before joining forces with the drummer and the lead guitarist. The three met the Queen bassist John in 1974. Queen played their first gig later in June. In 1973, Queen had released their first self-titled album called Queen. It took about 2 more recordings for Queen to actually catch on. The press never liked them because they were seen as a wannabe Led Zeppelin. The second album that was released was Sheer Heart Attack. This album featured their first hit, Killer Queen. The song hit number 2 in the UK and peaked off at number 12 in the US. Night at the Opera was released in 1975. This album featured Bohemian Rhapsody, a 6-minute rock operetta. The album was described as having a mix of hard rock, glam rock, and opera. Bohemian Rhapsody hit the top of the charts in the UK and became a top 10 in the US. The Live Aid concert was one of the biggest concerts in the world. 1.9 billion people were watching. This was in 1885 or 87, so it was a pretty big deal, and it was all the funds were going to helping the famine in Africa. They wanted to reach 1 million pounds, and they did. Freddie Mercury showed his impressive a cappella skills by using crowd control. This was the famous AO thing. He sang the note that was heard around the world, proving everyone he was an absolute legend. Mercury kept his sexuality secret from his parents, who practiced Zoroastrianism. It's a big word and has a lot of letters in it. So they saw that religion saw homosexuality as a form of demon worship. Freddie was a young man once, as everyone is in their point. He did date women, as he was in a serious relationship with Mary Austin in the 1970s. The two lived together for several years and were actually engaged. Freddie had finally gained enough courage to come out to Mary as bisexual, to which she responded, "Freddie, you're gay." was seeing men both while and after his relationship with Mary ended. Freddie had met many male partners, including Paul Prenter, David Mins, Joe Finelli, Tony Baston, Winfred Winnie, Kirk Banger, and Jim Hutton, who was with Freddie all the way up until the last day. Freddie had supposedly died while wearing a wedding band that Jim had given him. Offstage, Freddie was very open about his bisexuality, but he kept his relationships private. In 2017, guitarist Brian May said this to the Sunday Times. It was fairly obvious when the visitors to Freddie's dressing room started to change from hot chicks to hot men. After Freddie came out about his diagnosis, he never came out about his sexuality. Mercury was more open with his bandmates than the public eye, since the band was one of the first groups of people he told about his illness. Freddie lived a lavish lifestyle and surrounded himself by many people who loved him. Freddie had many 6 cats, and he was considered the crazy cat lady before the crazy cat lady was cool. He often preferred them over people sometimes. In 1990, Queen ended their contract with Capitol Records and signed with Disney's Hollywood Records. So if you want to think about it, Freddie Mercury was actually a Disney queen. In May 1991, the film For These Are the Days of Our Lives has the last moments of Freddie alive in front of a camera. Freddie was 42, and by the time he was 42, he'd been involved in the music industry for nearly 2 decades. In 1987, Freddie had been diagnosed HIV positive and had AIDS. Bandmate Roger Taylor had this to say about why Freddie kept his diagnosis private. He didn't want to be seen as an object of pity and curiosity. He didn't want to have vultures circling over his head. On November 23, 1991, Freddie made all the rumors cease as he came clear about his diagnosis and illness. I wish to confirm that I have been tested HIV positive and have AIDS. Felt it correct to keep this information private to date to protect the privacy of those around me. However, the time has come for my friends and fans to know the truth, and I hope that everyone will join my doctors and everyone around the world to fight off this terrible disease. November 24th, 1991, the rock world lost a legend and an overall queen. Freddie Mercury died at the young age of 45 due to AIDS-related bronchial pneumonia. His funeral was held the 27th of November in Kensal Green, West London. It was private due to accordance of his family's religion. He was also cremated, and the urn was given to Mary, who wants to live forever.